guys, it's Finn. I am now a year and 2 months on testosterone. Before I start, I just want to say that it's been a really crappy few weeks. Really, really has. It's been really stressful because I've been trying to do my first exam in like God knows how many years. I haven't done an exam since I was about 17. Hence you've not heard from me. And also we lost our very final gerbil. We lost Teo. He died last week, so he's the last of all of our gerbils. I can't believe we've gone from like 6 gerbils to none now. Nat and I are going to be moving soon, so when we do, we're going to get some new babies, because it's just not right not having them running around behind me. So, moving on. Okay, so reflection on a year on tea. So kind of trying to think back to how things were for me before going on tea. I was not in the best state. It's a very common thing that over here in the UK we are made to wait for an awful long time before being given the go-ahead for testosterone. Well, the wait from me presenting to my doctor and saying this is what I want to do to actually having my first injection of testosterone was 15 months. That's way too long. I do think you do need a period of time in role to make sure it's right for you, but I think anything more than 6 months becomes detrimental. What is supposed to help you in making sure it's right actually ends up doing you more harm, because trying to walk around being male while sounding and looking female is just so impossible. It's soul destroying on a daily basis. So yeah, I was not in a good way before starting testosterone. I'd gone back on antidepressants, but I was lucky in that, you know, I'm very well supported. I have a very good balanced head, years of therapy, and I'm pretty good at kind of keeping myself on an even keel. But even with that, you know, I was struggling. So yeah, going on testosterone, I kind of thought, well, okay, I know this isn't going to be a magic fix overnight. I'm not going to suddenly have this shot of testosterone and feel magical, you know. I was kind of well aware of that. So I guess my fears at the time were that I'd have that first shot, and I would still feel rubbish, and that because I'd heard other people excuse me, kind of say that they'd gone on testosterone and the changes hadn't happened quick enough and they were frustrated. So I kind of had all these fears of kind of thinking about, okay, it's going to be a relief that I finally got testosterone in my system, but it's still going to be really slow. You know, it might take a long time to change or feel any better. It's not going to be magic. And I'm really actually very glad I went into starting testosterone with that head state, because it's really helped, actually. There's a saying in AA that's expectation is resentment in the making. And if you think about what that means, you know, if you kind of expect something to happen, you're like, yes, it's definitely going to happen, and then it doesn't, it's absolutely soul-destroying. And it's never really good to think like that, you know. You just end up saying, oh, it's not fair, the testosterone doesn't work, and all of this, you know. So I didn't want to have that head state, so I kind of went in with the feeling of, okay, it's not going to be a magic fix overnight, I'm just going to take each day as it comes. And actually that works out so well for me, because any small little change was just joyous. I wasn't comparing myself to other YouTube videos and going, oh, but he got this then, and he got this then, and they got that then. And I'd say to people, don't do that. As much as it's great to look at all these other YouTube videos, your testosterone journey is so personal. You will change. There is only a small amount of people that don't change on testosterone, or change very little. Most people do change. The length of time just differs, and the amount of changes differ compared to your genes. So yes, look at other YouTube videos for help and support and inspiration, but don't compare yourself to them. This is your journey, so just try and kind of focus on your individual changes, whether small or big, on a daily basis. And that actually really, really helped me. But I've got to say, really, that my fear that changes would be slow didn't happen for me. I was one of the lucky ones that it was really quick. Well, the things I wanted the most were really quick, like my voice. I wanted my voice to drop pretty quick if possible, because I was often passing until I spoke, and then suddenly the person that addressed me as sir would be like, oh, sorry madam, and that was just worse than being called madam in the first place. So for me, just the voice change was enough to kind of tip the balance so that I was being called he and sir more consistently, and that did happen pretty quick for me. Other changes have been a bit slower. My body seems to have missed a bit in the middle of hair. My leg hair grew quick, my arm hair grew quick, and something happened in the middle where it forgot, and my beard just didn't really happen until a couple of months ago. But those changes haven't really been that frustrating, because it's just every little thing that's happened, every one hair, every little bit of a voice drop or a voice squeak, or looking in the mirror and seeing something slightly different I couldn't put my finger on, has just been absolutely amazing. And because I've had that attitude of looking at it every day and just being grateful for every little tiny thing, it's all just been wonderful, and I haven't been frustrated at all. That fear of mine that it would be so slow and I'd be equally as frustrated on tea as I was pre-tea was just not the case. A marked difference in the desperate, miserable limbo hell of pre-tea to the joy of everyday growth into a manhood on testosterone is just incomparable. It's just been amazing, and still is. You know, every single day I kind of have this grin on my face that, you know, I'm becoming more and more of the man I've always known myself to be, and I don't really care how slow or quick that is. Just watching it happen and feeling it happen is just amazing. Doesn't mean I don't look at YouTube videos sometimes and go, why has he got more beard than me? It's not fair. But I know that it's going to happen in its own time. One of my biggest fears was that I was going to lose Nat. I was so scared. Not just of Nat, of all my friends really. I just thought people would just like move away. But yes, the biggest one was Nat. You know, she always kind of said I was so cute and she loved me, and you know, on all of this I was like, what if I'm not cute to her anymore? And all these kind of like terms of endearment that she used to call me, like plays on my birth name and things like that, all of that was going to go. And you know, as much as I knew I had to do this, and that not doing it out of fear of losing Nat wasn't going to work, I knew that. There was still this, you know, I didn't want to lose that kind of specialness we had between the two of us. And I am so glad to say that that has not been the case at all. If anything, we've grown closer. You know, as most people know, we got engaged in April. We always said we'd know where we were after a year on tea. Pre-tea, yeah, we dealt with the whole boyfriend-girlfriend thing, but the changes of testosterone are intense, and we didn't know if we could deal with that. But actually, because we've made it our transition rather than just mine, she's taken as much joy in the changes, probably more so than me sometimes, because she's just laughed at me. Yeah, we've both taken so much joy in all the little changes together that it's just something, we feel like we've built this whole year together. It's just brought us closer together, and obviously now because I'm more sexual as well, that's great. I don't kind of pull away from her like I used to. And I'm still cute apparently, so that's good. It's always good to be cute. And we've just found new terms of endearment, you know. It's just new words, and we've done it on a day-to-day basis. And we have talked more about it in our other videos, so I'm not going to go too much on about it here. But yeah, it's been difficult for us. I'm not saying it's been a walk in the park at all. But my fears of losing her, of our relationship changing beyond our ability to grow with it, have not come true, and that's just been the biggest gift for me. In terms of friends and family, I've been moving away from some friends anyway, but that's been a part of stopping drinking, really, and of actually growing into myself as a 40-year-old man, rather than acting like a 12-year-old boy, you know, because when I was drinking, I was hanging around with people a lot younger than me, because people my own age were far too sensible. So a lot of the changes that have happened have also been a kind of result of AA as well. So it's the people I've moved away from, it's not been because of testosterone, it's just been because of life changes. Me and my mum are closer, and that's just been wonderful as well. It's lovely that I can kind of talk to my mum about things, and she's just really enjoying seeing me just blossom and really be happy and fully myself, and that's great. Me and my brother are rebuilding our relationship. We didn't fall out because of testosterone as such, we just had different lives, but now we're rebuilding relationship as kind of brother and brother, and that's great. That's absolutely wonderful. You know, I love being two brothers. I've always been the tomboy kind of in the relationship anyway, but now to actually be properly seen as a man, not just a tomboy, but two men together, me and my bro, that's absolutely great. talking about my personality, I really was worried that that would change beyond recognition, but it hasn't actually. If anything, it's just brought the real me to the surface, the me that could be really kind of bubbly and out there, but was kept hidden by anxiety, is now free. The kind of rough edges of just nervousness and that have been sanded down. Again, a lot of the personality changes, a lot to do with AA as well, so it's difficult to separate the two. I don't suffer fools gladly anymore. That is a bit to do with testosterone, but a bit to do with AA as well. You know, it's... I think for people that have not seen the growth, they'd probably see me now and think, wow, testosterone's really changed your personality. But actually, if you've seen me from walking in AA through that onto T and into now, you kind of not see the testosterone as the cause of the big personality change. It has definitely changed things. I'm actually do understand now that biology does play a big part in personality traits, more so than I thought. There are definitely things of me that have changed quite dramatically in this year in the way I deal with certain stuff. But overall, my whole personality hasn't been changed. I've just been allowed to be me, I think, through testosterone. But as I say, a combination of AA changing and this, I think. It's hard because, you know, journey is my journey. I don't really see that... You can't compartmentalise that AA's done this and mental health has done this and testosterone has done that. It's all part of a whole journey. So it is quite hard to separate. And I was also very worried that I wouldn't be as deep and as passionate as I am. But if anything, I'm probably more so because I can assert my point much more firmly and with less fear. So yeah, I guess they were my main fears. Losing Nat, losing people, losing myself. And I guess worried as well that I'd start changing and thinking, oh my god, I don't like it. You know, you'd be daft if there wasn't that bit of fear. Let's be honest, right? We're all too scared sometimes to say these fears because we think, oh, if we say that, people are going to say, well, it's not right for you. That's not the case. Fear's normal. You know, the unknown is scary. So, you know, what if I turned into this ugly bloke? At the end of the day, I'd rather be an ugly bloke than a beautiful woman because I wasn't happy being a woman. But at the same time, you still want to be able to look in the mirror and go, yeah, you're alright. So, it's been nice actually loving the fact that I'm turning into a yeti and that my face is roughening up and stuff. You know, I'm loving it and I love the way I look. It's bloody brilliant. So I would really say none of my fears have actually come true. If anything, my life has blossomed and opened up in ways that I just didn't really even think were possible. How long am I going on for? This might be a long video, I do apologise. So if I try and kind of go over what has happened, in terms of my mental stuff, as I've said, my anxiety has pretty much just disappeared. Through drama therapy last year, I really kind of realised how much I was still holding on to the word anxiety to describe my state of being, and it actually wasn't true about me anymore. And by re-looking at that, I can see now that I have some kind of social awkwardness, which is partly to do with just not learning to be social without the crutch of alcohol or drugs, and partly to do with learning to socialise in a male way, with male to male, that I don't know because I've not been taught that. So I'm definitely just into social awkwardness now, which can be dealt with. One of the big things, I think, was I used to have to compromise myself to pass, so, you know, a really conventional haircut, a really conventional male clothes, and I didn't like doing that. But in order just to be seen as male, I would have done anything back then. Whereas now I'm recognised and seen as the man I am, and that happened from about 3 or 4 months in. It was getting more and more consistent. Now I'm just free to dress how I want, act how I want, and it doesn't matter. People can think I'm a gay man as long as they think I'm a man. I don't mind. Excuse me. Yeah, that's along the lines of I didn't want to adapt my social behaviours. And actually there's a lot of behaviours that have changed towards the more male side without me even really trying. My conversational style, for one, I have got very kind of short, answers now. That's not something I've done on purpose, it's just happened. One thing I really like is I can think a lot clearer. Whether that's because I'm not so anxious and not so overthinking everything all the time, I can think so much clearer. I don't need these lists anymore. I've become very listless. And it's quite frustrating for Nat at times because I was the organiser and now I'm just like, oh, whatever. I've become very, very much more laid back and just like, yeah, it's fine. I just see things much more kind of clear cut, and yeah, it's hard to explain. I'm sure Nat would say lots about that. I feel more able to assert myself very much, as I've said. I'm very much more able to go, no, not having that. And also my confidence has grown with people, so I'm able to talk more. I used to be really worried about kind of conflict, which used to make me feel edgy. Even if it was two other people getting at each other, I'd feel quite edgy. Whereas I don't get that now. I'm much more able to deal with people's conflict because I don't feel responsible for it. I used to have such feelings of guilt and that all the time, but a lot of that is kind of lessened. In terms of my physical body shape, that hasn't changed dramatically yet. My waist has thickened out and my clothes seem to hang off my hips and look more male, so it is happening. And I think the biggest masculinization thing has been my shoulders. They're so much broader. I do weights as well, but even when I wasn't doing weights and I had my operation, I'm still quite broad. So I think there's more masculinization of my body to happen, but having top surgery's helped so much. It's just lovely to kind of look in the mirror and see a male body. Not having periods. Oh my god, menstruation. That stopped really quick for me, and I'm so pleased about that, because there was nothing like ripping away my male anxiety once a month. That was my male anxiety, my male identity once a month. I feel so much more present in my body, and this is weird. I was saying this to Nat the other day and trying to explain it. I feel bigger, taller, wider. I put on a bit of weight, but it's not that. It's I feel like I fill my whole body, whereas before I was like in a bit of my body going, hello, I'm here, and no one was seeing me, and now it's just like I'm in every bit of it. I can actually feel my whole self filling my whole self. Does that make sense? Being seen, not having on the Harry Potter invisibility cloak or the female shield that makes me look female. I hated that shield, and now it's gone and people can see me. It feels like I used to have to mediate myself through the world. It's like, this is the female thing they were seeing, and I had to kind of like work my way through and go, no, look, this is me. And now I don't have to do that. My inside is here on the outside, and that is bloody wonderful. Yeah, just being able to look at my body is amazing as well. Being able to get dressed, wander around half naked, having top surgery, it's just been incredible. Emotionally, which is kind of overlapping with that really, it's just feeling more balanced in total. I still have my moods, but they're more dealable with. I guess because they're male moods. I couldn't deal with female moods, but I can deal with male moods. Being a bit stroppy and what have you is annoying, but I can deal with that. Much more laid back and confident, and I love that. I love that I can pick up the phone more often now and actually talk on the phone and be alright. That wasn't just about my voice not passing, but with the social awkwardness, it was hard enough face to face, but at least I could kind of read cues, but on the phone I had real trouble, whereas I'm a lot better at picking up the phone now. Feeling more sexual is good. Having a sex drive is amazing. What have I been missing all these years? That's brilliant. Okay, let's talk about stuff that isn't brilliant, just to balance this out, because let's be fair, it is not easy going through puberty at the age of 40. I'm really lucky that I have an understanding family that allow me to stamp my feet on occasion and put up with that, so that's good. But yeah, one of the hardest things I think is letting out emotion now. I've always had trouble crying. I learnt to cry again in AA, which was great, and now it's gone again. I really can't. I feel like I want to at times and it won't come out. And I do find that frustrating. I don't quite know at the moment how to deal with it. Emotion does seem to be very quick with me now, rather than kind of long-winded as it used to be before. But it's like, when it's there, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. The technique I learnt with drama therapy, where you just kind of act like you're crying, does really work, where you just go, ah! Sorry, neighbours. Yes, but a bit louder than that. That really helps to get the emotion out, because emotion needs to come out. So whatever way you can, get the emotion out. So I do find that frustrating at times, but it's only been a year. I need to just learn how to... Running's good as well, but learning how to get emotions out now as a male hormoned person is difficult sometimes. My style of conversation has changed a lot, and that's been the biggest issue with me and Nat. As we've talked about before, we've argued more this year than we have done in our whole relationship. Because I'll say something and she'll think I'm having a go at her. So then she'll go, oh, what have I done? And I interpret that as squeaking. So then I go, oh, stop having a go. And it's just mishearing each other and misinterpreting each other. We're getting better at it, but it's still a work in progress. Her voice hasn't changed, but the only way I can describe it, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but it's the only way I can describe it, is I hear her squeaking now. The way her voice is, I often feel like she's nagging at me, and yet she isn't talking to me any different. I don't quite know what's happened in how I perceive women's voices so differently like that now. I just feel like I'm being having a go at by a lot of women. It's not just Nat, the way they speak to me, I feel like I'm being had a go at. And Nat feels like I'm having a go at her, because I'm very much like, what? Yes. And partly that's getting to use my voice, but partly it's because I'm just much more abrupt. I don't go, oh darling, should we do this? I'm just like, let's do this. So yeah, we're both learning to kind of try and sort that out. So I might just say, oh, I think I've just sounded cross, but I'm not cross. Or she might say, oh, I think I might just sounded a bit like whingy, but I'm not being whingy. You know, little things like that. It's a work in progress, but we're getting there. We're getting there, but it's hard. As I said, one of the ongoing things that's difficult is this social awkwardness, male socialisation. I haven't been taught it. I'm going to make a separate video about that, so I'm not going to go on about that, but that is a work in progress. And also finding my identity still. Now that I can dress how I want and talk how I want, because I don't have to kind of be a certain way to be seen who I am. It's ridiculous, isn't it? That you have to be somebody you're not in order to be seen for who you are. But that's how it is. In order to be seen as male when you're looking female, you have to just be uber male. And I'm not uber male. You know, I am quite flamboyant and camp at times. And I like that about myself. But it is still about me building my identity. Very much so. You have years to do this, but you don't when you're a trans man. It's like you've had to kind of live a false life anyway, and then you're on T, and it's just very hard. And I'm going to do another video about that. I did do one about it before, and it's an ongoing thing with my personality. And I've done a lot of stuff through my psychology degree as well that I find very fascinating. So I want to make a separate video about that and look at some of the kind of theories and how that might apply to myself as a trans man, refinding my identity. But yeah, there's not really that much. There's no negative. The difficulty is going through puberty much quicker than a cis male would, and not having the peers you would in order to help you learn to grow socially. Trans men help each other, but I think often at times it is like the blind leading the blind. And with my cis male friends, I feel a bit awkward sometimes asking them things that they would just be like, sure, you know that. So yeah, that can be a bit awkward, but fun awkward. It's not bad awkward. Right, I am going on, so I'm going to try and wrap up, but there was a lot to say. There will be more videos from me now. I'm sorry I've been quiet, there's a lot that's been happening. In terms of like doing my testosterone updates though, at this stage there's really not that much more dramatic stuff that's going to happen. It'll be a case of kind of more hair growth, more lower growth hopefully, and body masculinization. So I will still do testosterone updates about changes that are happening, but probably not frequently. But then I still have a lot going on I do want to talk about. You know, I'm now feeling more confident and well and able to step into the world of work at last. So I've got myself a volunteer job, which I'm going to talk about. So that is my next step into the world, is like, okay, I've done the inside job now, it's time to go on the outside. So there'll be videos about that, and I want to talk a lot about just relearning how to be in the world as a man, identity, socialisation and all of that sort of stuff. And also, of course, the decisions about lower surgery, which is getting worse. My dysphoria is getting worse. People said it would, and they're so right. And that is a big deal, but I'm going to make a separate video about that as well. So all in all, I'd really say the wait for testosterone was awful, but if anything, it made being on testosterone easier, because I was 100 billion trillion % sure of what I wanted when I went on T, and I had a very realistic head state about the time frame of things happening, and it just meant I was just like, okay, just going to enjoy this, and it has been an amazing ride so far and continues to be. And to be able to be stood here, sat here now, so much more confident, you know, it's just, I can't believe where I've moved from in just a year of being so depressed and had enough and just wanted to curl up in a ball, whereas now I just want to explode all over the planet, you know. I'm just so much more confident, you know, I'm just me, and it's bloody wonderful. It really, really is. I'm incredibly grateful for what just one short year has brought, so my hope for the future now is immense. I just didn't have hope for a future before. I didn't know what could be possible before, and now I don't have any idea what's possible. I just feel like there's so much possibility. Bring it on. Yeah. Right, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching this very long video and listening to me waffle. And thanks for everything, guys. You've all been absolutely amazing and incredibly instrumental in my journey. Can't thank you enough. Love you all. Speak soon. Bye-bye.